Well, hello, and welcome back to the Gaming Podcast, part of this season's DigiPride 2024. I'm your host, Mia Bites, and today we are going to continue to dive into all manner of the most curiously captivating queer conversations on the web. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And apologies if you hear a little screaming cat in the background. He's just eaten. He's very, very happy. He needs to let the world know. This season of the podcast is, of course, tied into our annual DigiPride celebrations. This year, DigiPride is presented by JAMA Games and sponsored by Devolver Digital and Wizards of the Coast. Now, sad times in the podcast today because it is the last day of DigiPride. Yes, it is the last day of Pride Month. So, of course, we're feeling pretty down here. But if you want to relive all of these wonderful Pride feelings, you can head on over to gamingmag.com/DigiPride and experience everything that you've missed across this last 6 weeks. Now, we're going to be finishing off DigiPride with a bang today, and we wanted to bring some chaos to the podcast by talking about chaotic games. So please welcome two of the most chaotic streamers we know, CeeDub and CrtlAltQuin. Hello.
Hi.
Hello. I love that introduction. Chaos. Let's get it.
Absolutely. Thank you to you both for being on the podcast today. I hope you're doing well this day. How was your Pride for the month?
Good. I was overall pretty good.
Good.
I'm excited for the month of Wrath that comes after the month of Pride too, right? So that's where we get to then we just go back to full legislative and pushing the agenda even harder. So
absolutely. And Quinn, what about yourself? How was your Pride this month?
I also am super into this month of Wrath. It's like a Star Wars vibe, and I'm not just saying that as a Star Wars stan, right? It's like may the fourth be with you, and then Revenge of the Wrath for all revenge. We need that. But also outside of that, I'm just so proud and happy and just full of love in my spirit for the amazing community that we all belong to here. Definitely feeling good, feeling supported by all my friends and beautiful people, and inspiring more.
Yeah, exactly. It's considering the year that queer people have had so far, it's been great to see us just come out in force. Nothing can hold us back, and we're just gonna, sustain ourselves and lead into that month of Wrath. But before we get into anything else today, let's kick off with the two of you telling us an overview of who you are and where people can find your content. What it is that you do on this wide world interwebs. CeeDub, let's start with you.
Sure.
Who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, CeeDub. You find me on Twitch at CeeDub_gaming. I am a variety streamer. I am also a charity streamer. I spend a lot of the year raising money for different charities, usually focused on LGBTQIA plus. I was sort of say issues, but I'd be usually life enhancement, I guess, ways to better our lives or support people who are in need. And then I also specialize in raising money for children, children in the hospital. So usually kids who are using gaming to kind of get past being sick. So that's kind of been my focus over the past couple of years and kind of where my niche is right now, I would say. But very excited. I'm getting ready to head off to TwitchCon here in a couple months, so I'm ready for that as well.
Very exciting, and such fantastic causes that you've been raising money for too. Oh my goodness, absolutely fantastic. And of course, Quinn, what about yourself? Tell everybody about yourself.
Oh my,
who you are, what you do.
So first and foremost, I want to say I am a CeeDub super fan. I had to. Me and CeeDub work together a lot. I adore them. So I'm CrtlAltQuin. My pronouns are they, them. I am a full-time streamer and improv and comedy professional. I'm a current student at a school that I want to say because I don't want to dox myself. But I do a lot of... I love gaming. I love video games. I love streaming. I love teaching other people how to do what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm not even really like there myself. So it's like a learning process all around. I play lots of video games, and right now I'm playing lots of World of Warcraft and MMOs, and anything
Oh,
that lets me get into like a real like character, like
yeah.
like where I can be anything but what I'm doing now, which is this. I don't know. This is chaotic, but that's the point of the show, right? Like
Mhm,
chaotic.
mhm. Listen, there's a reason that we have you both on. Funnily enough that you say you're playing a lot of WoW at the moment. I'm playing a lot of 14 right now, and
Ah,
I feel
Mm-hmm.
like that's inherently the gayer option. Personally, that's just me though. That's
oh my! I was just talking about that today too. I was just like, oh my gosh, like everyone keeps trying to get me to play that, but
you
there's
should.
like,
You should. It's fun.
but
Yeah,
it's so
and
overwhelming.
yeah, it's incredibly chaotic. Yeah, very apt.
It's
Very
more
apt.
overwhelming than WoW. I would think they would be equal.
I don't know. I've never played WoW, but
Mm.
yeah, like it can be a little bit overwhelming, I guess. But yeah, there's a free trial for a reason with unlimited playtime. If you look at the meme, you can play up to level
Yes, yes, yes.
70 in the entirety
Chaos
of
is
A Realm
always
Reborn
free.
up to Stormblood. Yeah,
Yeah, chaos is always free.
exactly. The chaos is free. Dive today, just like but just literally turning this into an ad for Final Fantasy 14. I mean, that's my lot in life at this point.
That's okay.
So, to change gears to actually the focus of the show today, today's topic is all about chaotic video games. Now, this topic was inspired by our friends over at Devolver Digital. I don't know if you all saw their Devolver Direct showcase, but they are pretty much known for being incredibly chaotic, and every single year they seem to top themselves with the chaos. This year was Volvi's birthday party, and if you haven't seen the video already, definitely go and give it a look. It was chaotic, let's say, for lack of a better word. So we're going to kick off talking about chaotic games today. We should probably get a better definition in place first. So, what are you personally defining as a chaotic game? Because I know it can be somewhat nebulous. So, what does that mean to you when the term chaotic game comes up? And Quinn, actually, let's start with you. Putting you on the spot here.
Yeah. As someone who like thrives in chaos, the biggest things as far as like a chaotic game is something where it could shift at any moment, right?
Right.
Like you could be like, I'm winning, or I'm doing like this is where it's gonna go, and it's like, oh no, I can lose that whole climb. Like everything I'm pushing for, doing it, like that's pure chaos to me. Within a game, without naming games. So
Okay. I think I'm picking up what you're putting down there, and I think there's a couple of games that already I've got an idea in mind that completely fit that. So CeeDub, what about yourself? What are we thinking about?
So I was thinking about this, and I think that for me, a chaotic game is a game where there's a rule set, but that's not how people play it, if that makes sense. So there's something you're supposed to be doing in the game, and the actual gameplay or how we like as a community have embraced it is not how you play it.
Right.
So I think of like I don't know, I'll just throw out like this can sound so silly. A game that that I think is absolutely chaotic and I cannot play is like Rocket League, where it's just too much happening all the time.
No, I feel that. Yeah.
And I'm like, this is supposed to be a sports game of sorts, but there's so much going on in it that I'm like, ooh, I can't get behind that. Whereas something like a Mario Party is chaotic in its own right, but it's very, very digestible in that regard, and becomes more chaotic the more you lean into it. So
yeah, and some games are certainly designed to be chaotic in that way, right? Like Mario Party. So if we're thinking about chaotic, the definition of chaotic is a state of complete confusion and disorder. So like I said, this seems to be a little bit nebulous of a definition in terms of like video games, and I really do feel like any game can be chaotic, as you were mentioning, depending on how you play it. And I reckon it's more about like, I think it comes down to like the lack of perceived control, right? So in a lot of games that you have, like you just play, you have complete control, but when you're introducing chaotic elements, I feel like that control just is slips away from you so easily in some places. Of course, there's just having the ability to cause direct mayhem as well, like in GTA or games like Just Cause, for instance.
Right.
Games that are designed like a playground for the people playing them. But yeah, with that in mind, since we've been thinking about chaotic games, what are your all-time favorite chaotic games, would you say then? And anybody can jump in on this.
Ooh.
So just because CeeDub said Rocket League, that was kind of on my list.
Oh, really? Nice.
Not as a favorite, but just say as something that it was just like a little bit too much for me. But that is,
I mean, we could
chaos.
honestly, you could do this in two parts. We could do chaotic games that we hate as well, because like if they're too chaotic,
Yeah.
you know. Because like
Soccer
I'm right with you
cars
there with
in
Rocket
it.
League.
Or soccer cars, it does something to me. But like as far as like chaotic games that I do willingly partake in, Overwatch is chaos. No matter what, like you could even go in ranked, right? You can play in ranked, and everyone should know what their roles are.
Yeah.
And it still doesn't go the way it's supposed to go. And it's just like, if you have, oh my gosh, it's just too much sometimes. But I love it. I love it. It's one of my favorites. I don't know why I'm like this.
I completely understand. If you are not like on the ball in that game with a complete team on comms consistently, that game is just it's insanity. It's chaos. It's like why are you a Genji and you're in the corner of the map trying to jump over something for some reason? What?
Why? Yes, why?
That's not where you're supposed to be. Why are you running down the alleyway right into the line of sight over and over again? That doesn't
Why?
Yeah. Chaos. Absolutely.
But yeah, I do like it though. I like Overwatch at times. Overwatch 2. I apologize.
Is that one of your faves then, or?
Yeah, it's one of my faves, and my second would be Super Smash Brothers.
Oh my god, I didn't even think of Super Smash Brothers, but you're so correct. You're so right. Especially with items on, anything can happen, literally.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. I'm just breathing.
I was literally like, one of my favorite things I used to do when playing Super Smash Bros. Melee would literally just have Pokeballs only on matches. And just like throw out as many as possible. Both sides aren't allowed to hit each other, but they're allowed to just get Pokeballs and throw out as many as possible. And then whoever survives that chaos wins. And that's it. Honestly, that is so chaotic. And I like that you can like tailor it to your own level of chaos as well. Absolutely. I love that. That's such a great answer that I didn't even think of, but you're so right.
All items on 7 stock, like tournament rules.
Yeah. Who needs, Final Destination, no items, Fox only? No way. No way.
Get out of my head. Okay.
CeeDub,
what about yourself? What are your favorites?
So I definitely was going to say Smash. Like that's like one of my favorites to play for sure, because it's a game that yes, you can be really, really great at, or the chips can just fall your way and you can be like me, where you're Kirby and you just punch all the time. Like you don't really know the moves very well. You know what I mean? Yeah. I would say also, I am really a big, I know I kind of mentioned just a minute ago, but like, I think about like, any of the like Mario Party or party like games that are like that, where the intent is to just move around the board, but there's so many moving pieces. You can steal stars, you can steal coins, you can stop people from moving where they wanted to go, you can close off paths. I think that's a really delightful game to play as well. And kind of games like that like you gosh, I'm trying to think of a game like a game like Overcooked or something like that, where it's like the goal is to just serve the food, but you don't necessarily know what you're doing, and all of a sudden everything's on fire and nobody washed the dishes. Do you know what I mean? Like something like that,
I,
where it's like
I
you're just
love that where
screaming at
there's
each
that
other.
slow ramp up as well, where everything's like normal at first, and then over time you just realize the time is running out. There's about 1 billion people with 1 billion different orders, and you don't know what to do first because you just can't keep up with everything that's going on. Like absolutely, absolutely. And funnily
Mm-hmm.
enough, you mentioned Mario Party. That was like one of the top things on my list as well. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely adore Mario Party. Some of the house parties that we've done in the past, which we make Mario Party even more chaotic. It have been some of my favorite shows that we've ever done on the channel. Absolutely, hands down, being able to just like exist in a space, even as a viewer, not playing it yourself, watching people have to do Mario Party and then have to do challenges on top of playing Mario Party is some of the funniest stuff I've ever witnessed, and I'm so glad that we get to do that. But like Mario Party in general is definitely one of my faves, and I'd say at the same token, Mario Kart too. Like
Yeah.
just the chaos that happens in Mario Kart, especially when everybody's kind of like on the same skill level and there's not like one clear person who's like really, really good. Like I find that's a lot more chaotic and a lot more fun, especially when you just put it on oh god, which track is it? The baby park track with with a lot of items. Like that's one of my favorite things to do in that game. Like baby park, so good because it's just the smallest arena that you just keep going round and round and round. Yeah.
Quinn, I think you would join me in on this as well. Fortnite is a huge chaotic game because
Honestly, I
again,
was
the
thinking
goal
about
is to
that.
sneak
Yeah.
to the end, but you can just
Literally.
mess with people
Mm-hmm.
and Fortnite, the
Uh-huh.
creators of the game, the makers of the game, they have just leaned into that. They said, let
Yeah.
me throw every character we can buy
Uh-huh.
in this game and then give you a bunch of weapons that just do a bunch of destruction.
I tell you what, when
Mhm.
Zero Build first came out, like they had like a Spider-Man thing going on at the time.
Mm-hmm.
They had like it eventually became the grapple, but like if some of the funnest gameplay I've had in Fortnite is swinging around with that little Spider-Man whip
Yes.
glove and just absolutely decimating people with like explosive weapons. It's so good. So good. Oh, also like tanks, just getting in a tank and taking down all of the Daily Bugle. That was the fastest way to like get really good weapons. Is literally just land there, get in a tank, destroy the entire building, everything comes raining down on top of you. So good. So good. Um, Special mention to an oldie but a goodie, Worms. I don't know if you all have played Worms.
Oh, I'm familiar. I haven't played it, but I remember it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
Again,
played it, but I've seen it.
yeah, that's like classic party chaos. We need to play Worms sometimes if you haven't played it. Yeah, definitely, definitely. Ooh, that'll be fun. There needs to be a new good Worms game. Like I want a new good Worms game out there. Like the new generation needs to experience Worms. And
Yeah,
that's such a weird sentence to say out
they
loud.
need worms. Give
Give
them
them
worms.
worms.
Give
Give
them
the new
worms.
generation Worms. They need to
Or give them a
experience it.
snake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, exactly.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Again, that's another slow ramp up of something that's quite simple and it becomes very chaotic very quickly. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
definitely. Definitely. So, moving on before I eat my hair. Moving right along. We've mentioned some of your favorite chaotic games then, but what is it about these games that you personally love so much? Like, that you love? What do you think makes them stand out?
I'll start. Like, so basically, when I think about Fortnite, the thing that I love about that game or any chaotic game is that at any point the tides can shift. There's not just one linear way to get to your like to win, to get to your victory royale or your chicken dinner or your like end game, whatever it may be. There's so many different avenues to get there, so many different streets. So I love that about chaotic games, and it's a kind of the same way in like Overwatch. Anything that I play is that I'm not stuck to just one route.
Yeah, no, definitely. Just options, I guess, and like
Options,
Mm.
options to win. Options are dope.
CeeDub, what about you?
I was going to say that I love the fact that of the replayability of them and that you consistently can just keep jumping right back in, and that it's not going to have the same it's not going to be the same thing twice. It very much aligns with the improviser in me of like, I could play the same game 4 or 5 times. It's never going to be played the exact same way. And I'm never, I'm not going to find the exact same things. And I think that is what really like tickles me, because there's still like there's still a framework you have to follow, but as long as you stay in the framework, anything's possible. You just have to get to the end somehow. I think that's why games that I don't vibe with, that it can be chaotic, like Tears of the Kingdom or something like that, where it's just too like, but for just the way my brain works, there's too many things to get and that you could be chaotic in. And there's not enough linear barriers for you. I absolutely understand why people love it. But what brings me back to chaotic games is that there's usually still some sort of framework that you get to follow in, and you can mess around in that framework.
Yeah, totally. I think for me, I think it comes down to like how unpredictable these games can be. Like, you're going into a chaotic game with the idea that you're gonna have a good time, but you don't know exactly what's gonna happen, especially when you add in like other elements. Again, going back to that lack of control that you have there, because when you add more people, I feel like the more chaotic something becomes, and I feel like that's always good. The games with more players tend to be more chaotic, like you're saying, like Fortnite, or oh god, what's the name of the game with the beans? Fall Guys, for instance. I absolutely adore that kind of game where it's just because there are so many other people in this environment, you don't really know what is going to happen. I think that's something that really draws me to online environments like Grand Theft Auto Online as well, because you spawn into one of those maps, and like I spawned into there's a role-playing server that I entered into a couple of weeks back for Purple RP, and I got in there. It was the first day it was active. I walked out of the hotel where you spawn. There's a car up against the wall on fire. There's a fire hydrant just spraying out. A guy in the middle of the street who's just unresponsive. I'm like, this is a lot. This is a lot. And yeah, I wasn't sure how to feel about that one, to be fair. But in more controlled environments, like party games, for instance, absolutely love that chaos. Like, get me onto a gang beasts anytime. Get me onto like
Party Animals.
Party Animals. Yeah, exactly. Crab game, for instance. Like, yeah, it's a bit more limited, but like stuff like that where the part of it is just like literally how much chaos can you cause. I feel like that's I love that kind of stuff. Funny enough, yeah. So that kind of ties into the next question there, which is like, what does make the best kind of chaotic game then? Like, what is it for you that makes the best kind of chaotic game? Because I feel like for me, tying into what I just said, I feel like it is like not just the online stuff, but games that kind of make me lose my mind a little bit. Like where you have that slow ramp up, and then all of a sudden that you have so much emotion coming out. For instance, I'll mention them, and I feel like you alluded to them earlier, Quinn. I don't know if you're alluding to Getting Over It or or Jump King, but both of those games, I swear to God, they make me so mad.
Or Chain Together. Have you played that?
I've not played Chain Together. What is Chain Together?
Are you familiar with Only Up?
Yes, I'm familiar with Only Up. It's very much like Getting Over It.
Only Up is Chain Together is Only Up, but you play with up to 4 people attached to you, so you can like you can kind of sling each other around and pull each other up and stuff. Yeah.
Can we do this one day? Can we? Because listen, please.
You want a chaotic stream? That game is wild.
Pure chaos. I definitely. The idea that I can or if I can start again or start over, that's what helps me lean more into the chaos, right? Like the stakes are high, but the stakes are never gone. Yeah. Like I've played chaos games I didn't say this earlier, but like Tarkov is chaos to me. Like that's
like
something
I'm
that I
not
would
familiar with
uninstall.
Tarkov, so like just to sorry, I'm making this very difficult, I know, but for those
No.
viewers out there who haven't heard of Tarkov, how does a game of Tarkov typically go, and what makes it so chaotic?
I also would say like Rust is on that same vein of like you're going out, you're like salvaging, you're doing all these things, you have like your little bedroll or whatever. But if you like die or perish, that's just it. Like you spend so much time like building these things up, and then if that happens, you lose everything that's on your person. Like that's chaos that I just.
To be
I'm
fair,
in my 30s now. I can't do it. My back hurts.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that
It's
sounds
not
very
happening.
similar
Not
to
happening.
like the experience of like something probably like Chained Together or Only Up or Getting Over It. Like you make so much progress, and then one slip, one mistake, and you're all the way back at the bottom again.
Mhm.
I don't think I've ever screamed so much as playing those types of games. It's ridiculous.
Sea of Thieves was like that for me, where it's
Oh yeah,
it can be very chaotic, and you try to not be chaotic. You're like, we're on this little adventure, we're following our treasure map, and all of a sudden somebody blows up your ship. You lose everything that you just spent 45 minutes collecting, and you can't get back to it. I think they have changed that and made it a little less complicated now in some of the recent updates. But when I was playing that a couple years ago, I almost rage quit stream that day because I was like, I am going to lose my mind. We just spent 45 minutes looking for this treasure just to have somebody come by and basically just poach it and destroy your ship.
Listen, I understand when it's like other players, because like I'm prepared for other players, right? I'm prepared for other players in Sea of Thieves being dicks. I understand that. But when you're just like sailing along back to the place after you've plundered all your booty, and then all of a sudden the sky turns stormy and dark, and out of nowhere tentacles start wrapping around the ship. I can't. I don't.
Universe, what are you doing?
It's like everything was going so well. Why are you doing this to me? Oh, Kraken in a storm is hell. Yes, it was. It was awful. Yeah. Sea of Thieves, definitely a game that I want to get back to, but like, Chad is actually bringing up some good examples as well. Ark Survival Evolved, apparently. I've not played that, but I'm assuming that's another survival game. Dinosaurs. Wonderful. I mean, honestly, you know what? Yeah, I'll give you that. Dinosaurs. I love dinosaurs.
Like what?
7
What
days.
more could you want out of a game? Sorry.
7 Days to Die is also a chaotic game I love because you if you're not familiar, it's like a zombie survival game where you go around, you collect a bunch of, you're collecting resources, but every 7 days at the end of the seventh day there's like a red full moon and you get a zombie horde that just comes and destroys your fortress that you have built. And so that is really delightful experience too, just because you know what's going to happen, and then here comes just this sea of chaos, and the further you make it in the game, the more zombies come take down your place. It's pretty great.
I don't think I could handle that. The anxiety would absolutely like destroy me. Like, yeah. I feel like a game with heavy RNG in places could definitely like add to like the chaos too in terms of games. Like, a game like Fear and Hunger. I don't know if you've heard of Fear and Hunger. Okay, so Fear and Hunger is a JRPG, and I use that in quotation marks here, which is very unforgiving and very difficult. And you play as a character that's trying to make your way through the dungeons of Fear and Hunger. But like the first thing that happens is you come across an enemy and they hit you. You lose most of your health and damage. You lose an arm, and then even if you get through that encounter for the rest of the game, you don't have that arm anymore. It's gone. You don't get it back. In some situations you get it back, but you don't have any. You lose your legs are gone. You're now dragging yourself through this dungeon trying to get to the end. And yeah, it's very, very difficult, very unforgiving. And what makes it so chaotic is that it's randomly generated. So every single time, the things that you've learned don't necessarily apply because they change the layout of the dungeon every single time. And every time that you not necessarily every time you attack, but like a lot of important attacks that you do in these like turn-based battles are based on a 50-50 coin flip. And sometimes like a lot of the time if you lose this coin flip, you instantly die. You're just dead and it's game over and you go back to the beginning. It gives you very little saves, and if you do manage to get a save, sometimes you have to flip a coin to even be able to save, and if you can't flip the coin, you just don't get that save. You just don't get to save the game. It's very difficult, and a lot of it comes down to like learning how to avoid enemies and like routing and just getting through it without in the best way without screwing yourself over. And it's definitely a game that I'd recommend like rolling your saves for, because like if you accidentally save over your last save and you do something that screws up your entire run, you gotta go all the way back to the beginning, and it's incredibly hard and incredibly frustrating and incredibly chaotic. So I definitely feel like
blood pressure just
Yeah.
increasing immensely.
Yeah, I definitely
We love
recommend it though.
chaos. Shout out chaos.
I definitely say, because like it's a very small game that blew up like last year a bit like Among Us did. So oh, speaking of chaotic games, Among Us. Why did I not mention Among Us?
That
Oh my
is-
god.
Mm,
That chaos, I feel like, got us through the pandemic a little bit.
It did.
it did.
The amount of times I remember being on a call, like just in the middle of the night on a charity stream, screaming at Tay Zonde that they were the imposter and getting them thrown out.
Tay Zonde?
Yeah, Mr. Chocolate Rain himself.
What?
It's one of the weirdest situations I've been in. But yeah, that was an incredibly chaotic thing. It was about like, I think it's like 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and there I am, like sleep deprived, just screaming that Tay Zonde is the imposter and needs to be thrown out the airlock. He wasn't the imposter, but you know, chaos does weird things to your brain when you're playing Among Us. I tell you what, yeah. But moving on. Away from me throwing random internet celebrities out of airlocks. So do you feel that there's different types of chaos for different audiences or groups of friends? Like, is there something that you would play with your friends that you wouldn't like necessarily play on stream, for instance, when it comes to creating that chaos?
Yeah, I feel that. So I guess like from my perspective, recently I've been trying to learn Stardew Valley. I've never played Stardew Valley until this year. And I've been doing things that have been deemed chaotic. Air
Really?
quotes. Chaotic at Stardew Valley. And I'm just like, but why?
How do you make Stardew chaotic? Like, I'm like, this is interesting to me.
I do not know, but they're like, this is chaos run. I'm like, how am I being chaotic? Like, I'm just trying to build a farm. I don't know. But I wouldn't, that's like for my viewers, right? Like, I want them to tell me and talk to me like why I'm doing, like what I'm doing. Why is that chaotic to the way this game runs? Because I've never played it before. But when I play Among Us, I would never stream that. Oh, I've streamed it before, but now I'm just like, when I go in there, I'm like straight demon hour. I don't care. I'm like going in there like, like I want to be messy.
Absolutely. Honestly, like even as like a non-imposter, sometimes just a crewmate, I kind of want to make people think I'm the imposter sometimes, just create that confusion.
Are you a Virgo?
No, I'm a Pisces. For the audio listeners, then that was a face like I don't think I've ever seen on this podcast before, but yeah. It was definitely it seemed derisive. I could make out, but yeah. I'll ask you about what that means after the podcast. CeeDub, what about yourself? Do you split up your chaos for different audiences? Or like
Yeah, I would
play
say
different games.
yes. I would definitely say that I do. I think that I really enjoy playing chaotic games that are. I guess what I was. I like playing chaotic games on stream that I still have some modicum of control over again. Whereas like off stream, I don't mind playing like I don't know. I'm thinking of something like I don't know, like Raft. You know what I mean? Where you're like still trying to survive, or like Green Hell, where you're trying to survive in the rainforest, something like that. Where like if I played that on stream, I don't think I could split the chaos between the because there's the chaos of the game and then the chaos of chat, and I think it would
chat is
override my brain.
inherently chaotic.
It
Yeah,
would
Twitch
override
chat.
my brain. I think I would not do well with it.
No, I get that completely. For me, there's something I've been thinking about, like the chaos that I never get the chance to bring to stream is board games, essentially. Like you put me down playing like Settlers of Catan, I turn into a mischievous imp. I turn into the worst person in the world, like absolutely just like, okay, I'm gonna help you this time, but like I'm gonna dick you over the entire game, and then I'm gonna be like at the end when I've like need something, I'm like, so I see, you got wood over there. I ain't got no wood right now. Do you mind like helping me out here? And inevitably, it's always no. Nobody's gonna help you. Have you seen how you've been acting for the rest of this game? No, it ain't happening. It's not. It's just literally not happening. But yeah, I don't think like in like other than like social engineering games like Among Us, I don't think I can have that kind of chaos like in a stream game.
Yeah, I feel like and I do like a lot of one shots or whatever where I'm in like tabletop like RPG stuff. I don't know if folks are familiar with that, listeners and viewers, but I love to be tapped in and rolling some dice for charity or doing something, or it's just like I could be anyone I want, right? And that element is so cool. I love role play so much.
Yeah. Oh my god.
We did a tabletop together, Quinn and I did. And I can vividly remember that you put out a fire in a very inappropriate way, but it was so chaotic.
Yeah.
It was so chaotic.
I know exactly
what was happening at the time. Because your superpower was you were a clown or something like that. So you filled yourself full of water and then sprayed yourself like you were a seltzer bottle.
Yes, that's exactly what I did. And we can leave it up for listeners too.
Sorry, by the way, which was this wasn't D&D, was it? Well, what game? What kind of game were you playing for this?
It was like a superhero thing. It wasn't Mutants and Masterminds, was it? Was it Mutants and Masterminds? I don't know. But that's how many chaos things me and CeeDub have done together for charity. Oh my gosh!
I want the opportunity to do that because I don't know. I'm always a little bit like hesitant in like TTRPG games to be that chaotic because I always feel like I'm overstepping the bounds. Sometimes. Maybe that's something I should try and overcome and just be as chaotic as possible in the next TTRPG game that I play.
Do you play in mini one shots or do you mostly play longer campaigns?
I have not played in most of the time it's just been one shots up to this point, but I've not played one for like the last probably 2 years at this point. So I'm due for getting back into another TTRPG game. Like I'm due for
Makes notes about charity game with
makes notes. That would be so fun. That would be so awesome.
I'm always down for a little chaos. Hell yeah. But yeah, speaking of which, you just mentioned like that was an incredibly chaotic moment that you had. What have been some of your most chaotic moments that you've had on stream? This doesn't necessarily have to be a game. This could be something else as well. Mm-hmm. I can give you an example first off. So, I feel like the most chaos that's ever been caused for me, other than, playing games like Getting Over It or Jump King, the one that was an absolute nightmare was playing Wind Waker. And you wouldn't think Wind Waker would be that chaotic, but then you add crowd control into the mix for a charity stream that I did. And then I came to realize, okay, it would be nice to be able to get through the opening portion of this game without being blown up every 5 seconds. That would be pretty good. Yeah, the amount of times I had to restart was as ridiculous. And when they activated like moon jumps as well, and so all of a sudden I'm just in the upper atmosphere. That was incredibly chaotic for me. But what about for yourselves? Go ahead.
So something I was gonna mention earlier, because we got so in it. But another game that I play a lot of is The Forest, and
okay,
I've been playing The Forest too. I'm on and off, but I'll play that game solo, and I streamed it a lot. I stream a lot of The Forest, over I haven't done it in a while though, because it's hot, it's summer, it's humid. But I don't want to be in the forest for that. And there's so many times on stream where I'm just I got my little camp set up and I repaired my little log cabin. I feel like I'm in a Wes Anderson film. And then cannibals. The cannibals would just come out of the dark. You hear them giggling and stuff. It's just so much. There's just so much in that game that is just on stream chaos. It's I feel like it's built for it. That's what's supposed to happen. People want to see you just be I'm doing my whole camp stuff. And my second thing would probably be Dead by Daylight and or Friday the 13th, which the servers don't exist anymore. But games like that where you're just in the dark and you're chilling. You gotta do what you gotta do, and then boom.
Oh my god, that I've never had more butt-clenching moments than playing Dead by Daylight as a survivor, and then the killer just comes out of nowhere, especially if it's the, the Wraith, is it? The one that can go invisible?
Yeah.
And so you're just there working on the thing, you hear that ding, 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 and you're like, oh god! And just literally just running, but not being able to see behind you straight away unless you turn the camera, vaulting over at the last second as they swipe. And I'm just my butt hasn't clenched this hard.
And if you turn around, it'll slow you down. You can't even look. You gotta just keep going.
You gotta keep going. CeeDub, what about yourself? What are some of the most chaotic moments that you've had?
Ooh, they've been they usually run charity incentives and things like that. I've done some horror game charity events where I built I want to say 20 different jump scares as the alerts. So I didn't know what was coming. I never knew when it was coming, and I was trying to play the goal was to play this longer horror game. I want to say it was not terribly long, but it might have been Slender Man or something like that, which doesn't scare me as a concept, but just adding in all those extra layers of the in-game jump scares, the charity jump scares, all these triggers going off, things that I created. I personally I know what they sound like, yet they're still coming out of nowhere. I would say those are when my stream is most chaotic, when I'm most I wish I was wearing a heart monitor right now so you could see what's going on over here.
That's something you should definitely get though. You can do that. You can get a heart monitor. Yeah. We'll have to figure that out. I want to see you with a heart monitor.
To your list for that Forest too. I would love to play that game with you sometime. It's so scary.
Oh, we should do that. Yeah, let's do The Forest. Mia, would you?
I've never played The Forest. That sounds like an absolute nightmare, but I'd be down.
Listen, I went camping for the first time ever IRL this past 30 days. I know what I'm doing. Come to my campground.
Cool. I thought you were going to say you were freaking out when you were camping IRL in real life with the mutants or cannibals coming out of the woods.
There was no cannibals when I went camping IRL, but you should come. We could do that. Let's go. Yeah. Camping together in the video game.
I love that. Special mention, because I saw it got mentioned in chat, but I completely forgot about this as well. Like some more chaotic moments, the most that I've had on stream recently, in the last couple of months. Helldivers 2 is so incredibly chaotic when you're on the higher difficulties and they're throwing so much at you all at once, and you're like just trying to get out of there with your life. You dive, they're still on top of you. You dive again, and you're just trying to get away just so you can recoup a little bit of stamina and just take a breath. But all these horrible like insectoid monsters and metallic monstrosities are just on top of you the whole time. Incredibly chaotic and definitely worth the play. Helldivers 2, very fun, very fun. Now, this is almost our last question. So, what are some of the chaotic games that you personally want a sequel to? Like any highlights out there that you want to maybe wish there was a sequel coming out? Because I've got mine. Listen, mine was announced already. I've got Super Mario Party Jamboree coming, and that's going to be incredibly chaotic.
Yeah.
Like that was announced at the last Nintendo Direct, and I think they're going to be having like 100-player online or something for certain modes too. Which you know what, that's looking chaotic as hell. I want that. I'm happy about that. But if are there any games that are chaotic that you want a sequel to?
Are we gonna start like, does decade matter? Can we like pull?
It doesn't
something
matter.
from the
Listen, it
script?
can be whatever,
Okay.
whenever. This is a personal, you know.
Okay, Shakira.
What you
All
want.
right. So I.
Oh baby, when you talk like that, jeez.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw this back to PlayStation, PS1. There's this game called Tecmo's Deception. Tecmo.
I've never heard of it. What is
Tecmo, the game publisher, I don't even know if they're still in existence or they got absorbed. But there was this game called Tecmo's Deception where you literally, it's like what's the Time Warp? Rocky Horror Picture Show. And basically you're this lord of this manor and you have like strangers, travelers are coming in at night, and then you have to like set traps to get them stuck, their souls stuck in the house. I know
that sounds like Night Trap.
It was so chaotic. Tecmo's Deception. And it has Deception. So it has like a different name. But I don't want to like read it in Japanese and like just be wrong. But y'all should play that game. I wish there was a sequel to it. It was so good. In my eyes, just chaos, pure chaos. Like random like characters would just come and you're like, oh, it's raining, I'm stuck in the house, and then like you just have to build traps until like capture their souls, but they all come together and help each other to get out because your soul was one of the trap souls. There we go. That's what it looks like. Oh my god, that's it. That is literally see, good. Look at those graphics. They're so
it looks fantastic. So sorry. So what are you trying to do here? Just get out alive, or what's there? Yeah.
So the goal is, or I don't want to give spoilers because it is definitely one of the best stories ever written in the last 100 years. That yeah, you gotta capture souls, and when you get to a certain point of souls captured, you help the other souls get freed.
Wow.
From this dungeon house thing.
Honestly,
so that's chaos. So there that goes.
That sounds very Darkest Dungeon, to be fair. Not Darkest Dungeon, sorry, Fear and Hunger, actually, to be fair. So definitely, yeah, you might like that actually, Quinn, if you if you like this, because this is looking like a little bit like that, I guess, because you can recruit party members in Fear and Hunger as well, and like get them to come along with you and try and get to the end of the game. So definitely worth looking at.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So there's that. That was the most. That's chaos. I throw in a chaos game there. Mission clear. End of invaders. Okay.
Nice. And what about yourself, CeeDub? What do you want? What are you looking for in a
I'm also gonna go old school. A little old school. I would love to see a remake or sequel. I know there's been sequels to it, but I would love to see a remake of the original Twisted Metal.
Twisted Metal.
That's old school, but that is also chaos. That was like a car game a car game, if you will, that I could get into. That was also super destructive. They just popped into my head, and I was like, oh, I would love to see a good solid remake of that, where you are just absolutely destroying just everything around you. I know they've made sequels, but something like that where they took this original game and like actually like.
So what is the whole thing of Twisted Metal then? Because I've never played a Twisted Metal game. So what's the appeal?
It's pretty darn close to the balloon mode of Mario Kart, if you think about
really?
it. So, like, I mean,
cool.
you've got instead of balloons, you've got a health bar, but you're trying to destroy each other's car, basically, right? So you've got these vehicles that have like different weapons and things like that, and you can kind of drive around and pick up like different weapons as well and stuff like that. But you're just trying to knock each other out of the race, basically. It's very much like that balloon mode.
I would love to see the Burnout devs whatever they're doing now to a Twisted Metal game. That'd be pretty cool. I'd like that. Yeah. Well, that's epic. Awesome. I definitely need to give Twisted Metal a look. So yes, that was absolutely fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful conversation to be had. We definitely brought some chaos. Now we're gonna move on to our brand new section, which is a little bit chaotic ourselves, and this is Show Me What You Got, which has been around for this DIGIPRIDE in the last season of the podcast. Now, our guests have brought in an item that holds some significance to them. This could be something special, a game that they really love, or a movie, or whatnot. So, Quinn, show me what you got.
All right, so boom. All right, you ready? If you don't know this already, I'm a huge Star Wars stan. I have Star Wars tattoos. We go in here. One of my favorite things, my artifacts or stuff that I have in my space, is one of my combat lightsabers, because I do competitive. This is going to be so dorky, but I do competitive lightsaber battles. I fight, I do choreography and stuff. And I want to show y'all that. So this is my show and tell.
Show me what you got. Let's go. Oh my
God! I didn't know that.
Is that a NeoPixel or a different brand? Or
no, this is real. Does that look cool?
It looks very cool, actually. I feel like the NVIDIA effect is only adding to the coolness factor.
Yeah. All right. No, this is an Ultra Saber.
Ultra Saber.
And I don't even know if they do any. I don't know if they make them anymore. But it's like you can.
It's made for combat. Nice.
Yes, made for combat. So that's one of That's one of my things that I like.
What's your personal color of preference for your lightsaber? Like, what color do you go for?
So I have blue, but I also have 2 purples downstairs. I really love purple. Purple is my favorite color. So.
Me too. Purple is great. I feel like we're all very purpled up at the moment. So yeah.
Ooh, these are the real deal. I'm Googling them real quick.
That's so cool. Quinn,
they're so good. Oh, sorry.
What did you think of the Acolyte? Since
I haven't watched it yet.
You haven't watched it yet? No. Oh, there's some cool lightsaber scenes in that series. There's a lot of haters online who are just like, oh, I don't like it because it has diverse characters. But it's been really, really cool so far. It's not been the greatest writing in the world, but it's all the hate for it is so overblown. But yeah, I've been having a lot of fun watching that series, and it takes Star Wars in a little bit of a different direction. I feel it feels, without spoiling anything, it feels like a spiritual successor to what they tried to do in The Last Jedi. So it's very
Gaming Mag. Cool. When are we gonna have a Star Wars talk?
Yeah, we should have a Star Wars podcast at some point. That would be absolutely fantastic.
My Lady Confetti is super into that too.
Oh my goodness. CeeDub.
Robin behind the scenes taking notes.
That'd be pretty cool.
Oh, what I got right here. I got this bad boy right here. So this is
Aww.
this is my little wolf here, but this wolf came to me from Great Wolf Lodge. So a couple years ago, we raised money for Make-A-Wish, and they did like a partnership with Great Wolf Lodge during the holidays. And our community came together, and we actually like placed first out of the individual fundraisers. And so if you're not familiar with Great Wolf Lodge is like a family-based like indoor water park. But
I thought it was like a wolf sanctuary or something.
No. So they sent us 4 passes to go. So I took my mods. We just went like a family and had family day at Great Wolf Lodge. It was so much fun.
Oh, that's so
It
cute.
was so much fun.
Did you get the plushie while you were there then?
Yeah, so this is what I bought with my tickets. I was like, what a great way to remember like the fundraising experience, like getting to do that whole thing. It's such a delight. It was such a surprise, and being able to go and like hang out and just like, I don't know, like we just like we just fully leaned into the experience. We ate a bunch of junk food, and because like you stay there too, right? So then we had like a room together, and then we like had cocktails and like just really just leaned into the whole experience. I got to hang out with my mods in Chicago. It was really fun.
So, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it was
that
really,
sounds
really
like
cool.
It was so
and then
much
this
fun.
guy just sits, he lives back here in my grid as kind of a charity reminder of that. So,
oh, that's so cute. Okay, since this is the last podcast of DigiPride and of the season, I will show you the most chaotic thing that I could think of in my house. Fortunately, he's very, very close by, so I will bring him in. This is my chaos bean. He's not very happy about being on screen.
He's like, "What are you doing?" And
yeah, he's so for those of you, so the podcast listeners and watchers will be very, very familiar with Machi here because he makes a lot of appearances. But he is a chaos demon, and I love him to death. But he's also very evil. And if I don't, here's a little bit of background information, chat. If I don't give him his food like about 5 minutes before the podcast starts, throughout the podcast, he will be up on top of the monitors, ruining the show. So, yeah, I give him food just before we start so that he goes to sleep straight out afterwards and isn't a nightmare during the show. So, yeah, that's my show and tell. I love him. I've had him since 2020. He's turning 4 on the 14th of next month, and yeah, he's he chews every cable in the house.
Take a clip of when you pulled that cat into camera full view, the look on that cat's face, and make it an emote on some channel somewhere. That cat has never looked, I've never seen somebody look more displeased about what you have just done. That was that's so good.
That we do have an emote in the channel actually. I think it's that some are using it in the chat already. Yeah. But I think you're right about the displeasure there. So yeah, that's my chaos demon. I can't move him back now, so I guess I'm just like ending the show with him here. All right, cool. We're just doing this together, okay? Awesome. Are you gonna help me finish off the podcast? No. All right, never mind. He'll probably run away now and ruin the whole thing, but that's fine too. Right then, that does bring us to the end of the podcast. Thank you everybody for joining us today. Sorry, I've got to move around all my stuff now to work around him. Yeah. So thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Gaming Podcast for DigiPride. We will be back later in the year, but that is it for DigiPride 2024. So make sure that you follow the Gaming Mag channel here on Twitch and TikTok and YouTube so you don't miss any of these amazing shows. Of course, podcasts can be listened back to at any time on all major podcast platforms. And if you're listening there now, come on over to Twitch to watch us live. Just head on over to twitch.tv/gamingmag. Thanks once again to our presenting partner, Jammer Games, and sponsors Devolver Digital and Wizards of the Coast. But we have one final question before we wrap up today. So, and that is, tell everybody what you got coming up and where they can find your content. CeeDub.
You can find me at CeeDub_gaming here on Twitch and across all social platforms under the same thing. Coming up, my next thing that I'm going to be doing is TwitchCon in San Diego. That's my next big convention thing. And fingers crossed, we'll get to partner again with my good friend CrtlAltQuin on what is looking to be a really cool project, really cool event that we're working on for TwitchCon 2, which I can't go into detail about, but I'm very excited about.
Very, very exciting. Awesome, awesome. And of course, Quinn, what have you got coming up and where can people find your content? It is a question, chat. It is a question.
Yeah, so my name is CrtlAltQuin. You can find me at CrtlAltQuin. It's like Control-Alt-Delete if you are a PC user with one N on the end of Quinn. Next, I'll just be taking it easy. If you open up your apps right now, whether it may be Google Play or Apple, you'll see my big head there smiling and being gay. And I know that we all love smiling, gay, big head people like me. Just kidding. That's a bad joke. But anyways, yeah, that's all I have going on. I'll be playing some Elden Ring and being funny. Then maybe I'll be in TwitchCon. We'll see. Definitely PAX West if you're in the Seattle area. And thank you so much, DigiPride, for having me on for this last thing. I'll be there making bad jokes, I guess.
Wonderful stuff. Looking forward to that. I won't be there personally, but hopefully I'll be able to catch whatever it is that the two of you have going on. I hope it's aired across the waves. We'll see. We'll see. I've been Meabyte, your host for this season. You can catch me over on twitch.tv/Meabyte, where we just hang, generally play games. I'm going to be playing a lot of Final Fantasy XIV this month because the new expansion just dropped. And maybe some new Elden Ring DLC and a bunch of other cool stuff. So if you want to see me in the downtime until the next shows, come and hang out. It's been a pleasure being with you this season and all across Gaming Mag's DigiPride. And I hope I see you again soon. In the meantime, don't forget to keep reading and watching Gaming Magazine. And we'll see you soon. Happy Pride, everybody.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Pride.